In what's been a really interesting and productive year for WWE, they present WWE SummerSlam this Saturday. So we're going to talk wrestling with it being one of the biggest shows on the wrestling calendar. And to do so, guys, I could only go one place because it's been too long since I had a reunion with my old podcasting buddies from Low Blows. We're going to talk wrestling for the next while, guys. As always, if you are coming to this podcast from Low Blows, if you migrated over and made the switch, I'm sure you're going to be happy with this. If you're here for the movies and TV and aren't into wrestling, follow the time cues and go there. But for now, we're going to talk SummerSlam with the one, the only Katey, Harvey, and Corporate Cian. Guys, you're very welcome to page 180. How are things? Katey, you are still involved in wrestling, still like running Fight Factory, though you took a month off. How goes everything in the world of Irish pro wrestling? I believe you have a show coming up now at the moment.
Yeah, well, that month off was the most glorious month of my life. I'm not going to lie. I had so much fun just training and not being involved. But back in the swing of things, we have a show August 11th, a Friday. And then on 13th, we make our Longford debut for anyone listening in the Midlands who wants to. And it's a family-friendly show. So a little bit different from us. We're getting back into the old family-friendly side of wrestling because it's gas crack.
Okay, so on August 11th, Dublin City as well. If you want to go in, bring BYOB. They're excellent shows, guys. If you haven't been, they're class crack. Yeah, BYOB. It's really like a kind of underground club that you've never discovered before, you know what I mean? And you're kind of getting in on the ground floor. You get to see a lot of upcoming talent kind of before they're famous. And again, if you know Fight Factory's track record, well, literally, we watched it last week take on Lyra Valkyria, former Irish Junior Heavyweight Champion, took on Women's Champion Rhea Ripley on NXT last week. So again, Fight Factory producing all the hits and continue to produce the stars of tomorrow. So come down and check it out. And tickets are it's 20 quid and bring your own beer. I'm right in saying that?
Yep, 20 quid, bring your beer. And then Longford is €10 or €30 for a family of four.
Okay, bring your own sandwiches.
If you want, yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Amazing.
Enough to share with everyone, though. If you're going to bring snacks, it has to be to share with everyone.
Good stuff. Cian, how goes all in the YouTube, Patreon content creation world? You're still trucking away with that?
Yeah, I've been pretty quiet with YouTube this year. Like I've kind of haven't been uploading that much. I've been quite busy editing shows. I've been editing obviously Fight Factory. I started editing Rebel County down in Cork, editing video packages, and I've just learned after I think 10 months of editing or something like that, how to sync up clips automatically. It took me a long time to do what is an easy fix for what is the most difficult part of the job, and what would have saved me a lot of stress and hassle. It only took me, I think, 9 months or something like that. And it's funny because I'd be talking to like Jack at Fight Factory and stuff, and he'd be saying like, oh yeah, you can do that automatically. Like, does it wait like sync up clips automatically? And I'd be like, yeah, but like, and I have tried it, by the way. I tried it before like a good few times and it never worked. But it turned out I was clicking like the wrong option or whatever. Like I just like, it's like track channel 1, track channel 2, and mix down. I still don't know what it means, but I was clicking mix down. I should have clicked on 1 and it just synced up everything perfectly. And I was like, oh my God, this has saved me so much hassle. So I'm actually busting to edit my next show. I'm gonna see how much of a difference that makes. But yeah, that's what I've been doing most of my time.
You'll have a bit of time now that you're not spending like 20 hours of your day trying to manually sync everything together. So exciting times. Enjoy it. Can't wait to see what comes from that. Guys, we'll talk about SummerSlam. And the first thing that I kind of wanted to discuss is, did you ever wonder, obviously now we're all off doing our own thing, Game of Low Blows, the end of 2021, but do you ever feel like we covered wrestling throughout all of the pandemic? We watched it every single week, all of the shows with no fans. Probably the worst time to be a professional wrestling fan, but we covered it every single week because that was what we did with our pandemic, and that was our break as well. Do you ever feel like we stopped at the wrong time? Because wrestling is cool again, and it's been hotter than it ever has been this year. I don't know. Are you guys as like I'm back in? I'm like,
do you think there's a direct correlation between us not talking about it and wrestling becoming cool?
It is actually, yeah. Like, don't mess with it. I'm not saying let's get the band back together because there's obviously the winning formula here. Are you guys just hooked, or is it just me? Like, it's after getting amazing again.
Like I've dropped off keeping up to date just because I'm so busy. Like I'm back to work full time. Most of the time I start like my shifts at 5:30 in the morning. Like we Fight Factory open 6 days a week now. Like I'm busy, so I keep up on the big shows. Like I watch them in their entirety, and then I follow along like the weekly shows like through social media and clips, or if I hear like, oh, this match was class, like I'll seek it out and watch it. But like I just cannot sit down. Oh, and I watch NXT because of Aoife, Lyra Valkyria, but like Raw, SmackDown, I can't say I've watched, or Dynamite, an episode in its entirety since the pandemic, probably.
Yeah, there's so much content. I'm the same. A lot of the weekly stuff I try and make time for Dynamite, and if I can, I'll get in Collision. But yeah, the rest is all YouTube and then the big shows. But the big shows are hitting. Cian, where are you at with your wrestling addiction? I know it can fluctuate.
Yeah, it comes in waves. Like earlier this year, I kind of like sort of dipped out of it, and I noticed that like when I get really into MMA, like if I'm watching like Bellator and like fucking LFA and random Polish shows that I just wanted to bet on, then I won't watch as much wrestling. I feel like they kind of eat into each other. So when I'm really into MMA, I watch less wrestling, and when I'm really into wrestling, I watch less MMA. But in both, I'll always watch the big shows. Where I'm at now is I'm actually keeping up with wrestling every day now. I'm not necessarily like watching the shows, but it's like I'll be keeping on top of them and keeping an eye on what's going on. Keeping an eye on WWE, AEW, Impact. I started looking at recently, which it was like like when I started watching it, Chris Sabin won the X Division title and Alex Shelley won the world title. So the Motor City Machine Guns have the 2 singles belts, and then Sabin lost his X Division title to Leo Rush. So it's like it's written just for me. And then Josh Alexander came back, and it's like, oh man, I couldn't have come back at a better time. I looked at the G1. I'm probably gonna watch it when it like heats up and gets close to the final. I'm not really gonna watch it every day or because there's a lot, and I find that with the G1 it's difficult to kind of like catch up because it's kind of like I don't know what the fuck. Like there's so many blocks now as well. Have they like added more blocks? There's like 4 blocks. Yeah, so
they do
like
quarterfinals and semifinals. Yeah.
Oh man, so like I'm not complaining because if you're into it, like that sounds class. But if you're on the outside coming in like fresh, it's kind of like all right, there's a lot to take in here. But the funniest one, right, outside of those promotions and then Irish stuff, right? I actually, Stardom.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so because I've got a couple of friends who watch it, so just for a laugh, I thought it'd be funny to like randomly have a load of knowledge about Stardom to randomly like argue with them about out of nowhere, like just to drop. I think it's really funny to drop random knowledge on someone that like they never in a million years would have thought that you had, right? So I spent. Because it's like the 5-star GP was coming up, I was like, you know what, right? What if I just look up on Wikipedia who everybody is, just do a little bit of research, and see if I like it, see if there's any characters that interest me or whatever. And I actually got mad into it. I actually end up having like proper big opinions on everyone. I actually am going to keep what's up in the 5-star GP. I've got like there's I randomly turned around to the group chat like one of the days and I was like, Natsuko Tora, who is she to be leading a proper faction? Hasn't won the Wonder Championship, hasn't won the World Championship, fraud. And it's like, King, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like I've got such strong opinions that Momo turned her back on Mayu Iwatani. Like, shocking. Or I can't even remember what faction it was, but I was like, shocking. You know what I mean? Like I literally like so now I know so much about Stardom and I'm actually like into it. So Stardom, kind of New Japan, Impact, WWE, and AEW. So a fair amount. Oh, also, the way I hate traveling for shows. Like I hate traveling.
Right.
I'm going to Wembley.
Nice.
I'm so jealous.
I had to. It was just like when I wasn't gonna go until they said Wembley Stadium, and I was like, oh, this could end up being like a WrestleMania type deal. You know what I mean? I kind of have to go. Like I nearly said all in. You kind of have to go. Yeah, all in. And like, so like I'm going to fucking Indies. Nice. I'm going to like, meet and greets or whatever the fuck. I'm just gonna go go to everything when I'm there. Fuck it.
Yeah, I can't wait for Wembley myself. Like, yeah, I'm going. And it looks like we might get CM Punk teased. We might get a title for title. Yeah. Might get title for title.
See, so this caused scraps in my group chat the other day. I got destroyed by everyone, right? I said, in my own opinion, when the rumored card was like MJF, Adam Cole, and like Omega Takashita, I was like, lads, this is not like a Wembley Stadium card for me. Like this is like a Fighter Fest card. Like I'm not because obviously like it's a lot of money to go over for a few days, and like it's a big thing. I want it to be like a special card or at least like a special main event. And so I was a bit down. I was kind of like MJF and Cole. I'm not saying it's a bad match or it won't be fun, but I'm like I wanted like a special fucking show. You know what I mean? Punk versus MJF, belt for belt. Oh, especially with MJF as a face now. Oh my god! Or like, and Punk kind of getting all heely and I just think this is a proper stadium main event. This fits the bill. You know what I mean? Like, I would love that. I think that'd be class.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And that's wrestling. Like, there's so much going on at the moment. And again, like, all of it seems to be quite good. I'm loving my G1 daily. If you want to start following the G1, if you want to jump in, next Saturday is a good time to jump in because that's the last night of the blocks. So then you find out who qualifies. So you can just jump in at the very end, and then you've got the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So there you can kind of catch up. And there's 4 matches each show that you need to pay attention to essentially from that point onward. So, but we're here to talk about WWE. We're here to talk specifically about SummerSlam. And again, most of the card has been announced now, so we can kind of get into it. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar is the first point I want to discuss. And to me, I don't know, like, again, obviously Cody didn't win the belt at WrestleMania. I'm still holding that I was the one person on the planet that predicted all of that beforehand. I'm still lording that over everyone. But also as well, like, one thing that I'm finding interesting is, for me, I can't help but feel like he's still getting reactions. People are still chanting his theme song, like, when he makes his entrance. But I don't know, Cody just doesn't seem as hot as he previously did. Like, is this version of Cody getting a bit stale? If WWE got what they need out of him, could there maybe be a heel turn? Or is he as hot as ever and maybe it's just me? Katey, how are you feeling, like, about Cody and this match in general?
Like, I just can't really buy into Cody at all. And like, I'm getting a lot of abuse, like, down the gym because, like, I don't know, he's just a meme to me now. You know what I mean? I don't buy into him as a main eventer. I haven't since the beginning. Like, he never had that sort of star power over me. So it's yeah, look, it's not much to me. I know that sounds really, like, petty, or I don't know.
Oh,
but, like,
Katey coming in swinging with the hot takes. Cody's not a main eventer. We have our headline. We have our headlines. Katie Harvey shoots on Cody Rhodes. There we go. Done.
Cody Rhodes wouldn't main event the Fight Factory - Katie Harvey.
And you know what? You wouldn't. He's not down training nearly enough, to be fair.
Who would you put Cody against? Where would he sit on the card? Are we talking like JB and Party Boy? Like, is that kind of in a tag match? Like, where?
Well, like, I'd probably let main event next gen.
Okay.
You know,
like putting a new trainee over, like, yeah.
Like, I do like Cody Rhodes. I don't know. It's just, I just feel like the jump to WWE, it was very much like, I don't know, like, all pomp and circumstance, you know, like don't force me to care about him like a main eventer. Like, I don't know, to me, I just never bought into it from the start, right, the way other people have. And I feel like people really, really bought into him, you know, like, I think the most shouted thing down the gym at the moment is finish the story. Like, that's all people are shouting at each other for 2 hours every night in training. And, like, I don't know, but I just don't get it. It's just there's nothing I dislike about him, but there's nothing that draws me to him either as a main eventer.
I understand that, because there's certain things where wrestling is very popular now, and there are things like Cody and Logan Paul people are going crazy for. And again, like, I can appreciate that these people are performing well, but I don't know, it just feels like I'm watching someone else's generation of wrestling. Like, this is the stuff that kids today are going to grow up and they'll be saying, like, this is the real good shit. This is the old school stuff. Yeah. And I'm watching it and it's theirs. It's not mine though. I don't know if I'm enjoying it, but I'm not necessarily personally connecting to it. And I kind of get you. I think Cody is the point where I intersect in it, and that, like, I wouldn't be in the arena going, well, I probably would because it's loud and it's a thing to get involved in, but I wouldn't be feeling it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, it's Cody. It's like, yeah, he's a prick.
I just feel like they're trying too hard to make it, like, special, like tying in all the stuff with Dusty Rhodes and stuff, you know. I just feel like it's all tried too hard.
Yeah. Okay,
so,
that's fair.
Yeah, it's not like, I wouldn't look at that card and be like, that's the match that that I'm staying up to watch, you know?
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Cian, where do you sit on Cody?
Talking about dinner at the table.
Oh my god. Why I don't want to go onto I won't go into the same rant that I went on like months ago. I still think Sammy should have won in February, right? But if Sammy didn't win in February, I think Cody not winning the following month, I'm kind of like, it's like they're missing all these opportunities to strike while the iron is at its hottest. Do you know what I mean? Supposedly, you know, I'm guessing plans will change, and you know how it is. Like, you know, things fucking whatever. So they probably have an idea of who they want at the Mania main event next year and whatever
We'll,
else.
we'll talk about Reigns later, but yeah. We'll get on to Reigns. Don't worry.
Supposedly, you know, they say like it'll be Cody again at Mania next year, and that's what all this is about. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I just think it's like it's not like I actually think Cody's quite a good fit in WWE. I think it's actually quite funny we were talking about Cody because I was actually only watching earlier today a compilation of him getting bullied by all the different legends in AEW, like Jake Roberts and Arn Anderson and Taz. Like they all bullied him over there. It was so funny. But what you call it? I think he's a better fit in WWE. I actually do see him as like a main eventer in WWE, and I don't mind him being like a champion or anything like that. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not super excited about this being the third Cody Lesnar match in a row. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we've seen it. That's kind of a WWE thing that I'm not super into, is the constant rematches. But I don't know. We'll just see where it goes. I do. Do you know what? I think Cody has kind of won me over a little bit over time. Like I feel like you know, it's kind of he's a decent asset to Raw.
Yeah. And look, it's working. Whatever it is that we personally feel, if it's working for us, like it is working. He's getting numbers. The ratings are high. The merch is high. The crowds, you can hear it. They've actually got passionate crowds about, which for years we used to say. Remember, WWE used to have fans that cared, and now they do. But again, yeah, even if it's not personally connecting with all of us. Ronda Rousey's believing to be finished up with WWE after her SummerSlam match with Shayna Baszler. Again, kind of loose like information. That's just kind of what's being discussed, but no one seems to have firm dates or whatever. But again, that's a discussion, and that's kind of where it's at. This latest run since he's come back last year hasn't really knocked it out of the park, I think it's fair to say. But could a great match here save it? Is like, because again, this is kind of if you're looking at dream feuds for Ronda Rousey, Cian, you're a big MMA fan, so obviously I'll let you kind of take the lead here. What do you think? Is this enough to kind of make the Ronda Rousey run we've kind of all sat through worthwhile?
I don't know. For me, like Shayna Baszler is like one of my absolute favorite wrestlers in WWE. I don't know if I've mentioned that. Like it's kind of one of those sort of like under the radar favorites, because usually she's not really up to much, so I don't really have much to talk about when it comes to Shayna Baszler. You know what I mean? But what I love about this is that it's caused like that turn in London was actually the most one of the most shocking turns I've ever seen in WWE. Not in terms of significance, but just in the sense that like nobody expected it. Like, were you thinking when like Ronda and Shayna were who were they even taking on? Liv and Raquel, I think it was, that like they were gonna split? It was a complete like that was actually a really, 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 really good turn just for that just for the randomness of it. Obviously, Ronda leaving would make a lot more sense. Like that would explain why that happened. I'm a fan of it. I don't know. I haven't really, again, because I haven't really been watching over the last few months, I don't really know a huge amount about what Ronda really did the last few months. I wasn't really paying super close attention, but I'm enjoying the fact that Shayna Baszler now has like a significant scrap coming up, and I'm hoping it'll be used to propel her onto up to the next level. We'll see.
Sorry, just while I'm getting a good laugh here. Katey got poked in the eyes. We had a run in there from Betty. I mean, okay, Katey. For anyone who's not watching the video and didn't get to enjoy that, Betty walked along, came in, took Katie's glasses off, poked her in the eyes with them, walked off, had a laugh and walked off. Are you okay? Can you see right now?
I'm okay. Like, fucking hell, that was some put off. Like,
amazing. What a legend. She just turned to the camera and laughed and then walked away. What a legend. She's a performer already.
you can see why I don't have time to keep up with Raw and SmackDown every week.
You literally can't see. Okay, do you have any excitement for yourself for Ronda and Shayna?
I feel like a damn squid, because for this match as well, I'm like, no.
That's fair.
I just, again, don't have any strong feelings. I know Cian's been all in on Shayna Baszler for a while. I feel like she never got a fair, proper run or shot. And I do feel bad because I do think she has a couple of great matches in her. This could be one of them because they they wrestle each other's style. You know, they're clearly friends, so you know they're probably going to work really, really hard in this match. So like from that aspect, it could actually end up being like, you know, sneaky, very good.
Okay. I think something that you have been all in on so far, and I think somewhere one of the aspects that you're probably I don't know. I would say likely looking forward to Logan Paul is obviously something that you've been tracking, and he's definitely won you over. I'm looking at this feud with Ricochet, and what it's reminding me of is I used to go out with a girl who had a son, but she still does. Like, I just don't go out with her anymore. But and like he was very young at the time. Like he was at like kind of just probably a little older than Betty is right now. And like he used to like be like, "Hey, look what I can do," and then like he just like do like a tumble or like a cartwheel, and he's like, "Look, I can do this," and then like I feel like that's been what the feud for Ricochet and Logan Paul is. Like, there's not much. I don't actually know why they don't like each other. It's just like Ricochet is just doing flips in the ring for no reason. Like, he did the thing where he can do multiple flips and then land on his feet outside and square up with a person, which looks really cool, but there's no real reason for him to do it. It was just because they're like, everyone's going to be watching when Logan Paul does it, so do the cool flippy thing you do, Ricochet. Well, having said that, as cheesy as the feud may have been, they're putting the two of them together, even though Ricochet isn't at the kind of level that Logan Paul usually wrestles at in terms of main eventer. They're putting them together because they're probably going to have a great match. Is this going to be an epic that steals the show, or is it going to be one that like there's a lot of cool stuff, but ultimately like it is just more of a spot fest? Katie, how you feel about Logan Paul Ricochet?
Like, to be fair, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, because I think there is a really clear reason why they don't like each other, and it's because Ricochet nearly murdered Logan Paul.
Yeah, well,
like
that'll do actually. Yeah,
okay, that's a very clear reason to have beef.
yeah.
And like it's all born out of that, isn't it, from the
Yeah.
Money in the Bank, where like, yeah, so I mean, it's not a great foundation for a feud, because like Ricochet is supposed to be the face, but he was the one at fault there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're looking at it from like an objective non-kayfabe perspective, like Ricochet was at fault there, and then if you look at it from a kayfabe perspective, like I don't know, it is a weak start to a feud, but I understand now why they've paired off and they do cool shit together. Again, I've never been all in on Ricochet. It's just not really my style of wrestling. But because I buy into the Logan Paul character and I love the fan reactions he gets, I think this is actually going to be brilliant for Ricochet, because I think it'll pull out a bit of personality that we've maybe been missing up until this point. Because he has a really, really like strong story and character to play off in this, and there's going to be crowd reactions, you know, so it's not going to be like 16 flips in a row to a golf clap. It's going to be like, you know, actual like crowd investment in this. And so I am looking forward to it. I generally always look forward to Logan Paul matches. So I think this is going to be really good.
There you go, Katie. She's gonna break now to have her teeth brushed.
That's my toothbrush that she has.
Very considerate. She's just saying, like, she's not dropping a hint, not to say you have bad breath, but Cian, how are you feeling about Ricochet, Logan Paul? It's a great point, actually. I hadn't thought about that Logan Paul is going to get reactions wherever he goes, because that's what he does, and he's uniquely whatever you think about Logan Paul and the Paul brothers, they are uniquely suited for wrestling their characters and as heels and whatnot. So again, that works. So that you've actually made me much more excited just thinking about the crowd reactions and Ricochet actually getting to have a match that has that kind of reaction. That isn't a Money in the Bank type kind of stunt fest. Cian, how are you feeling about this?
I think this match is going to slap. I'm a little bit disappointed that this isn't the LA Knight slot. I would have thought this would be like especially after Money in the Bank, this will be the perfect spot for LA Knight. It's not a title match. It's not getting in the way of anything, but it's still a hugely relevant and important match for him. That would have been just so perfect on a stage like SummerSlam as well. I'm a little bit, you know, I was a skeptic when Triple H took over. I didn't think he was going to really be that great. And to be fair, the last year of WWE, it's actually been a lot more fun than like the previous, I don't even know how many years. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not as pissed or raging, because I feel like there might be a plan. Like they might have something, you know, lined up for LA Knight. I feel like, with LA, like in the past when wrestlers, you know, like Rusev Day or Elias or whoever you want to, you know, use as an example, whenever they got really popular by themselves and it wasn't really part of the plan, you kind of felt watching the show that there was like resentment against them because they got popular by themselves, and they kind of got sort of, you know, kicked out of the way or pushed out of the way. I don't really necessarily feel like that's the case with LA Knight. I feel like there's probably just other plans in place up as far as SummerSlam, and maybe I'm being naive and a bit too optimistic, but I'm hoping that there'll probably be something better down the line that'll probably feature an LA Knight Logan Paul match or something along those lines. But for now, Ricochet and Logan Paul, at least from a match standpoint, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I think with LA Knight, my takeaway on that is, and I remember Nick Khan giving an interview where he's like, now we know WWE is organized chaos for a lot of the time in terms of the week to weeks, but he did an interview and I believed him in terms of like the top level stuff, like, and you can see this particularly with how they treat Roman Reigns. They have that stuff mapped out months in advance where they kind of know the outline of what they're going to go and the points they're going to hit. They might know the month to month or the weeks to weeks, but they know the big moments and so on and so forth. So where I kind of see with LA Knight is he's not in those plans, you know what I mean? But I agree that they're not resisting that, but I think they see the value in devaluing him at the moment. So everyone expected him to win Money in the Bank. He doesn't win that, but he also doesn't lose because you don't get pinned or anything in Money in the Bank. So it doesn't count against you if you don't win. Logan Paul was in that match and he very rarely loses. So, you know, it's not a slight against him that he didn't end up winning. So, I think they're deliberately putting him like in. They could easily just shoot him to the moon now. There's a couple of things there that's going against it because it's like, okay, does he have an in-ring ceiling for how good his matches can be? Is a valid question. And also, like, again, not that this should necessarily count too much against him, but his age is like he's not like the guy you're going to build around for the next 10 years. So you have to be smart about when you pick your moments with him. Like, again, so I think they will fit him in, but I think right now they see the value in kind of not giving him the big moments like this because they know that from experience with the likes of Daniel Bryan, that's just going to make us cheer louder for them. And I think that's kind of the game plan that they have with him now. And then therefore you get to give other people like Ricochet this one-time spot because you know that LA Knight is going to get it down the line. I kind of feel confident with that. The women's championship is on the line. Asuka defends against Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. Feels almost like a dream match of sorts when you look at it on paper and you look at the names involved. Probably will be quite a good match, but it just feels like it's going under the radar. Cian, are you looking forward to this? And who have you kind of got to kind of walk away? Because it is one of those things where you can make a case for all three of them. And I really don't know which way this is going to go. I think Charlotte is kind of looking, I don't know how close she is to the record, to getting Ric Flair's record of world title wins, but I think that's going to be something that's take into contention. But you can make cases for Asuka retaining, you can make cases for Bianca, who's going to be the future star. Where are you feeling with this match?
I'd like Asuka to retain because I'd like Asuka to go on, you know, a long run with the belt. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm not a huge Bianca fan. I think face Bianca she's lost like a lot of edge, I feel, as a face. And Charlotte, I just feel like I've seen Charlotte do everything. I'm just not super like, I'm not saying this is gonna be a bad match. This would be a great match, but I'm not overly invested. I think Asuka retaining is the best option because I'd like to see somebody in the women's division go on a really long title run with really important, significant matches. And I think Asuka could be maybe the person to do that. But yeah, no, I think it'll be fun.
Charlotte's I just looked it up there. She's at 15 title reigns, by the way. So she's one off Rick's. Katey, how are you feeling about this? Is this something you're excited for? Do you have a particular pick or do you have a preference?
Are you sure she's at 15? Because on her Twitter it says 14. And I know this because I checked her Twitter today because her and Andrade have taken all their stuff out of each other's bios. So
yeah. I did the exact same.
Yeah.
they've unfollowed each other as well. And Rick has actually unfollowed Andrade too. So there you go. There's your scandal.
Yeah, I just feel like if this is going to tie the record, it would be a bigger deal. It would be much more built up. So I think this is there 14th or 15th? You said 15th.
Sorry, I was including the two NXT title reigns, but so it's confusing because technically, if you include NXT, she's at 16, but I wasn't including the Divas Championship, which she's held one time. So she's held the Raw Championship 6 times, SmackDown 7, Divas once, which is obviously how they get to 14. That's what they're considering canon. So that's where we'll go. So she's not playing for the record here. This would just be another title reign. You're on mute there.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? That's why I think she might get a sneaky win here to bring her up to 15 so they can build it towards that big 16th reign. But I'm bored by it, you know. I just feel like she keeps coming back, winning a title instantly, losing it, disappearing. She never has any downtime where she's not the champion or chasing the title. And it's just stale. Like, you know, again, I would prefer Asuka to keep it as well. Like, it's just, I think there's more interesting things to be done.
Yeah, and it's tough because Charlotte, like Rick, it's a very smart career plan. Her entire identity is tied up with winning titles. You know, if you're going to pick a character for yourself, you know, how many trainees have you had come to you with characters where it's like, yeah, I think my gimmick is going to be that I just always win the world championship.
More often than you think.
And they've agreed to it. Like they've gone, yeah, that works for us. But again, yeah, it's just I don't want to see any more Charlotte. Like literally, when she was wrestling at WrestleMania this year, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte left her boots in the ring and just like, I've done everything I can do in wrestling, because she has. Like, there's literally nothing more she can do, and there's nothing more that people want to see. I don't think we want to see her do anything. It's like, oh, she's a face again. Oh, she's a heel again. It's always the exact same. So again, I'm not hungry for more Charlotte content. I find it way more interesting if she did a Sasha and went off to like New Japan or Stardom, or went off to AEW and tried to kind of do some stuff there. I'd find that's the only way you're interested in me with Charlotte. But I think that 16 title reigns is inevitable. Probably 17. She's going to beat Rick's record. So again, we have to wait for 3 more title reigns, because history or something. I don't know. Anyway, look, I'm going to go Charlotte here reluctantly, but I'd be very, very okay with Asuka getting a lifelong reign. It's huge night for the Irish with 2 big matches on the card. You've got Becky Lynch having a kind of dream match with Trish. They've obviously paying off the feud that they've been having all summer. Heel Trish Stratus coming back, a huge, obviously, win, especially for old school fans who, that's my favorite version of Trish, if I'm being honest. And again, it's something that we never thought we'd see Trish get an extended run where she's an actual active weekly member of the roster full time again. And then to get this character with it, it's just been an absolute treat. But also for the World Heavyweight Championship, you've got Seth Rollins against Finn Balor in a rematch from their 2017. So for any old school low blows party goers, you remember that was the match where we had the Italian 90-like celebrations in the Woolshed for Balor winning his initial World Championship, and now he's fighting for the World Championship again with obviously the person he's been in a rivalry with since day one in WWE. Of these 2 big Irish matches, and again, feel free to touch on them both. You don't just have to pick one to talk about, but which one are you looking forward to, Katey? Which one kind of is standing out for you in particular?
Like I think I'm looking forward to these 2, like top of the card, with the exception of like maybe one other match. Because you just know Seth and Finn Balor is going to be class. It's just going to be a class wrestling match. But also Judgment Day is my favorite thing in WWE outside the Bloodline at the moment. Like, I'm obsessed with everything that they do. So like, I think Finn Balor's winning that one. I think they're going to load up the Judgment Day with titles. Like they have to. Like, it's the way it's going. But Becky and Trish, because like you like that old school heel Trish. Like do you remember when Trish turned heel and aligned herself with Christian?
So
like
good.
I lost my mind. I lost my mind
good.
when that happened. I was
Yeah.
like fucking I can't remember how old I was, but like way too old to be caring that much, you know. And like again, that's my favorite era of Trish as well, because she's so good at it. And like, look, I'm a massive Lita fan, but Lita coming back for a run was probably not the best thing for her legacy. You know, I have had people younger than me be like, that's who you've been saying change the game. And I was like, yeah, she did change the game, I swear. Whereas I feel like Trish is adding to her legacy. So I'm really, really looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be class, and I think both of them are clever wrestlers. Where they're neither of them are spot fest wrestlers, so it's going to be a clever match with lots of character, and I'm going to love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be class. And I know they're trying to use this to make Zoe Stark a thing. Let's on Raw this week. In fact, let's just take her out. Let's just be like, Zoe Stark had to go back to her home planet and we'll never see her again. I'm not saying I never want to see her again. I just don't want her in this match, because I'm like, I've no interest in it, and I'm really invested in the story that these 2 are trying to tell. It's very smart to use this to get over someone else. I don't have a problem with the theory behind it, but just let these 2 be the stars for this and just let them have their match. For Balor Rollins, it's an interesting one, obviously, because to predict Balor win the belt, I don't think that's unreasonable. And again, there's history there too to fall back on. Where it gets interesting is that, of course, Damian Priest has the Money in the Bank briefcase. So if that is what you're picking, are you picking Priest to maybe cash in? Like, who's leaving the champion then? Is Balor leaving with the belt, Katey?
No, it's going to be teased for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be like an insurance policy, you know, like, oh, if anyone beats you, like, I'm here, you know. I think that's what they'll do, because he's the only one without some sort of title at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like Dom has an NXT title, Rhea's got the women's title, Damian Priest has the Money in the Bank. So like it makes sense to load him up with a title and have that in-group tension of Damian Priest having the Money in the Bank.
I like that concept of it's the insurance policy. You're selling me well on it, because what I'd have previously said, and I'm not fully, I'm still going to ruminate over this for the next week, but like, I think there's much more tension in having Finn be, on one hand, he's supposed to be quote unquote the leader. He's not really. Rhea's more the leader now in the starter group. She's kind of taken over, but he is, in theory, that's what's supposed to be his position. And there's more tension having him be the only one who's not succeeding. You know what I mean? And that's going to wind him up, and that's going to create tension and start to fray the group and so on. But then you still have that with the Money in the Bank, and the Judgment Day just rule, so I have no problem loading them up. And I'm not mad on Rollins. Again, this is something where I'm like, whatever way this is connected with the crowd, much like Cody, like with them singing his theme song, that isn't connected with me. I don't like him. He's still annoying to me. He's still the same guy I felt he was. And maybe that's just me being a boomer and just aging out of this and just not getting it in the same way. But I'd be very happy with Balor winning, obviously. But yeah, very interesting. Cian, where are you leaning on these?
Yeah, so you mentioned Zoe Stark. I've been watching Zoe Stark since she was obviously like in NXT and stuff, and she's incredibly boring. I've actually never seen a wrestler in WWE that has elicited such a non-response from me. Like I've watched like promos, matches, and just nothing. Like it's not even like I can't even say what I hate about her or what I love. Like there's just nothing. So yeah, I like you hope she kind of just stays out of the Becky Trish match. And we just let them do their thing. That should be a fun match. But Balor and Rollins, it's an interesting one. Like I wasn't really that hyped about it because I kind of just assumed Rollins was going to win. But obviously hearing yous talk about it, the Judgment Day is obviously something WWE value quite a lot. I've seen a lot of people saying that the Judgment Day are kind of being viewed as the successors to the Bloodline. It's clearly like one of the most popular acts in the entire company at the minute. It's crazy to think, like, when you look back at like when it was like Edge and Damian Priest and like Rhea at the start, you know what I mean? I remember being like, man, this is shite. Like this, even when Balor took over initially, I was like, this is still gonna be shite. Like, there's no way this is gonna be like redeemed in any way. Dominic Mysterio, exactly what everybody expected was gonna be the catalyst for change. Once Judgment Day learned to kind of laugh at themselves a little bit, that's when, and like kind of like loosen up and show their personality. That's when they became like proper, like stars. And I love the Judgment Day now. I'm a huge fan. It is quite funny seeing Damian Priest positioned as like the upcoming prospect with the briefcase, while people are also saying, LA Knight, is age, you know what I mean? When it's like LA Knight is 40 years old and Damian Priest is 40 years old. You know what I mean? I always find that like really funny, but in the same light, I do view Priest as like an up and comer. You know what I mean? Like it's just weird how like presentation and stuff like that kind of like put. But I'm very much in the camp, like not to get too sidetracked, but I'm very much in the camp when it comes to age that like it doesn't really matter, because like if you look at say like The Rock and Austin, right? They were on top in WWE for about 5 years. It was like what 96, 97 to 01, 02 or something like that, right? Like 5 years. And in wrestling, really, you peak in like what, your late 30s, early 40s. You know what I mean? It's not like a sport where like you peak, in your late 20s. So I don't really see an issue with like, a Priest or an LA Knight or anything like that, like holding the belt. But for now, I'd love if I don't know now. You've made things. I'm in your camp with Seth Rollins. I'm like, in the ring, I'm a fan of Seth Rollins. I think he's a really, really fun wrestler to watch. I'm not one of these people who hate Seth Rollins so much that I think he's a shit wrestler. That's bollocks. I think he's a fucking deadly wrestler. I love watching his matches. They're a lot of fun. But I agree, like, from a personality standpoint, I like the character or whatever, I'm not into it at all. And I'd love to see Balor and the Judgment Day just slap him around. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I also see your point. It is a very interesting story. If he's meant to be the leader and he's being outshone by Rhea and he's got, like, Priest as the briefcase. And I feel like the story of like Priest having the briefcase and Balor having nothing is more interesting going forward, I feel. But I'm still rooting for Balor. I don't care. I want Balor to slap Rollins around. And do you know what? Yeah, again, like this is why I love doing these, because I wasn't even thinking about this match going in SummerSlam, and now I'm proper buzzing for it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I thought
remember the night Dom turned, and who was it? One of you was on side at me being like, he's not joining the Judgment Day.
I
This
was
is just a
Jared.
turn. This is
I
just a
said he was
heel
joining
turn.
Judgment Day, and no, I said he was joining Judgment Day because I thought it was kind of like an obvious thing because they were all pointing and laughing, and I didn't even think it was like a debate. And then you both were like, "Oh no, he's just going out. He's breaking out on his own." I was like, "What?" And then imagine, it's so weird to think. Imagine if Dominic had have just broken out on his own. Like, how weird would that? Like, where would he be now? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like that's the one thing I love about Japanese wrestling. I have to give them a lot of credit for that. Like, I think factions are a really, really important part of wrestling, and I wish WWE embraced it more.
Yeah, and I think they're seeing the value in it with how well the Bloodline's going. And I think Judgment Day is like, but they just don't do it like where everyone's in a faction. They just have their big factions at any one time and kind of tell the story through that. I think the Bloodline has taught them a lot because when you look back at it in the history books, it's going to be like the big boom time wrestlers, the people that caused it. You're talking Hogan, Austin, John Cena, and the Bloodline. You know, Roman Reigns is obviously the headliner, but like it is the Bloodline. It's that story that has actually brought everyone back. So I think they're going to value it a lot more, and that's why we're seeing the focus on the Judgment Day. But yeah, very interesting. Again, I too am a lot more invested in that. I like the fake out that you did there with Zoe Stark. I thought when you said like I watched her since NXT, and I'm like he's gonna tell me that she's actually really good and get me excited about her now. But then no, yeah, you just agreed. And I have to say, to be fair, the opposite of Zoe Stark is Betty, who is joining us. She's someone that's like, get involved all you want, Betty. It's always a highlight. But lastly, main event.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Lastly, you've missed the best match.
What?
You've missed the best match.
Gunther
and McIntyre.
Okay, go for it.
Oh my god, I didn't actually raise this at the start because I assumed you were going to bring it up. This is the match. This is the match I'm looking forward to above all else.
Okay.
Gunther is the best wrestler on the fucking planet right now. Now, Eric Rowan, he's moved to acting. That's why I'm saying that, right? But but Gunther's the best wrestler in the world. Like every single Gunther match, even when I wasn't like paying, like around WrestleMania time, I'd kind of like. That's when I wasn't really in on all the wrestling or keeping up with it every week. But I was still like, right, I need to watch Gunther, McIntyre, and Sheamus. You know what I mean? Like, this is serious. Every single Gunther match fucking slaps. I cannot wait for his world title run. And obviously, the big story going into this is McIntyre is coming in. It's a fucking huge name for Gunther to beat. But he has to beat him if he has to break the record. Now, I'm somebody who believes that, like, records shouldn't... Like take Roman Reigns, for example. All about Roman Reigns breaking this record and breaking that record. I think that like records should only be broken organically. They shouldn't like shoehorn a record break into a story. Like, you know what I mean? You shouldn't like ruin a good story for the sake of, a number. But organically, I think like we're at a stage where Gunther should be beating McIntyre and breaking that record. And I'm so fucking that this match is going to steal the show. This is better than all the matches we've been talking about so far. This is I would like better than the main event as well. This is my main event. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Every Gunther match is my main event, but this is like they've given him a proper big name. I think they're going to go all out with this. And man, I can't wait. And I'm rooting for Gunther. I think he's going to do it. Fucking can't wait.
Okay, no, look, glad you came in and added that. The only reason that I didn't include it was because I didn't think there was a lot to say, because I'm like, it's going to be a good match. Gunther's nailed on to win, if I'm being honest. Like, for me, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's more of a debate. Yeah. But I think Gunther's nailed on to win. It was just like, I don't know if there's that much to talk about, but I'm glad you came in and said the piece. So no, that's fair. Okay, you had to add on Gunther McIntyre for the IC title?
Not a thing.
No worries. Betty's adding away there. She's like, no, it's going to be 4.5 stars.
We actually have a split screen on now with the Zoom and Teletubbies, so that's that's the reactions you're seeing right now.
I just thought you was laughing at me and my face. I was like, what did I do? Amazing. Last but not least, let's talk about Tribal Combat for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship and the recognition of Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Obviously, this is the story that started the Bloodline. Is it going to be the story that finishes the Bloodline? Is there any chance Jey Uso walks away with the Tribal Chief and he's the guy to beat Roman Reigns? First guy to pin him since Roman Reigns came back and had this amazing run, obviously at Money in the Bank, an incredible moment. And again, for everyone who was like, Sami Zayn should have won, Cody should have won, I hear the opinions, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but we wouldn't have had that moment then, you know what I mean? And again, Jey Uso, if you look at who deserves it and who's been there since the beginning and what the story's been, Jey Uso deserves these kind of moments as well. He deserves it on the back end for the work that he's put into this, because throughout everything in this storyline, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people have come in. Sami Zayn came in, had the longest run with them. Cody came in and had a good run in a feud against Roman, but for every single one of them, Jey Uso's been there. So I love the fact that he's getting this shot. Is there any chance that he's actually going to be the person who wins it? And Katey, I know you've been a huge fan of their original matches. We talked a lot about them on the show. How are you feeling about this? And
I don't know. I don't know how to feel, because I'm kind of with Cian in that I still think Sammy in Montreal was a mistake. I like, but I also am really enjoying how it's unfolding now. So I'm so conflicted in my heart and soul. It's like, I would have loved that moment with Sammy so much, but I love what they're doing now. So I don't know how to feel. And again, I would love it to be Jey Uso. And if it's not, I'll probably be outraged like I was with Sammy. But the main thing I keep saying over the last few months is like, can't believe Solo Sikoa might be the person, because you pitched that to us months ago that this is how the storyline is going to end, and like the tag match at WrestleMania, all the rest of it, and like everything you've said has come true so far. And now I'm just like, I can no longer have an opinion because I clearly don't know what's going on. So why don't you just tell me what's going to happen in the rest of the storyline?
I'm actually fraying from there. I will get to who I think as well. I do want to discuss it, but I do want to kind of give Jey. Are we saying no? Roman's winning here.
Yeah, I think so, because I just don't know what Jey does after.
Yeah.
That's my big sticking point with Jey. Again, the moment will be incredible, but I don't know what Jey does after. Does he go on to be a solo star on a Roman level? Or are you better off holding out for someone who is gonna be a Roman style? Now, he could be, you know what I mean? But he is also like in a twin brother tag team. So it's gonna be hard for him to break out, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be him.
Okay.
I want it to be him, but I don't think it will be.
It's tough because I feel like I have a good grasp on the higher level points of this and the potential areas that this could and may go in terms of like Roman Reigns' title reign and all the bloodline kind of stuff. But I don't have a good feel for what's going to happen on Sunday, being honest. You know what I mean? If you told me Jimmy's going to turn or Solo's going to turn on Roman or whatever, I don't have a feel for what's going to happen on Sunday. I genuinely have no idea. Cian, have you any more kind of thoughts? Do you think Jey might be the guy here, or like what? How are you feeling about this?
Jey should be the person to beat Roman Reigns, but no, I don't think he will. I think the whole point of last month, it was a compromise. It's like when Sami and Kevin won the tag titles. It's kind of like, right, Jey Uso got his big pinfall, he dethroned Roman Reigns, he got the big, but it was in tag team action, and now in SummerSlam we're going to see that Roman Reigns is still the singles guy going into Rumble Mania. My predictions right now would be Jey loses, we get Solo versus Roman at the Rumble, Roman wins there, and then we get probably Cody again, or something like that at WrestleMania, and then Gunther beats Cody the following SummerSlam. That's genuinely, if I had to do like a mad long-term prediction, maybe I'm thinking with my heart because I really want the Gunther world title run. I would love if Gunther dethroned Roman Reigns. That's who I think. I can't imagine it happening in a million years because it's like, kind of heel on heel, and I can't visualize how we get from here to there. But I would love if it was Gunther. Like, Gunther loses the IC title at like Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, and then goes on and beats Reigns at WrestleMania. That'd be class. But I think Jey Uso should really be the person to beat Roman Reigns. I think he's charismatic enough to be in that position of main event, the man, world champion. He's talented enough in the ring. I think people fucking pigeonhole him into this idea like, oh, he can't be the man because he's in a fucking tag team with his brother. So they always view him as a tag team wrestler, which I think. Yeah, no, but it's not, even before, Katey, I would have said that anyway.
Feeling attacked, yes, go on.
I'm happy to take the opportunity to attack Katey, but unfortunately, it's loads of people who kind of have this like, oh, but he can't be more than that because that's, he's always been a tag team wrestler. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of, I really hate that way of thinking because it's kind of like, I don't know, like some of the best wrestlers WWE have ever had, like Jeff Hardy, you know what I mean, came from a tag team with his brother. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's not, that shouldn't be a fucking, that should be that should be a gift, not a curse. You know what I mean? And I look at, like, Katey mentioned, what happens next. I would like, my point would be the opposite. What happens if he loses? Does he just go back to being a fucking tag team with Jimmy? Like, do they just go back to being the Usos? Because that'd be fucking shite. That was always my big kind of worry was that after the bloodline is over and done with, they just go back to the same tag titles that they've won like 100 times already. You know what I mean? I want something big for Jay as a singles wrestler, and I don't know if that'll be a scrap with Jimmy, you know, Jay versus Jimmy, heel versus face. That'd be cool, and that would be a really cool way for this match to end. I'd accept that if like Jimmy, you know, betrayed Jay and we got the Uso versus Uso feud or something like that. I don't think that's gonna happen. But either way, I really want to see Jay go on a singles run, even whether with or without the belt. But wait and see. I can't visualize a scenario where Jay beats Roman, especially at a SummerSlam. But I'd love to see it.
I feel more confident now that I think Jimmy is costing him the belt here. Not to side with Roman again. I think this is where Jay jumps off the bloodline thing, but I don't think he's going into oblivion. I think it makes sense for me because I don't know if when I watched that, I'm like, oh, the SummerSlam match should be Roman Reigns in a triple threat with the Usos, you know, and they both get a title shot, but Jay just is the one who got the title shot. And that's motivation right there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, why is it always Jay? Why does Jay always get to be the one to shine? You know what I mean? So now that actually is motivation for Jimmy. Again, he's not doing it to save Roman. He's doing it because he wants to prove that he's the superior Uso. So I feel confident now that that's where it's going.
I like that. That's not bad.
I want to throw out some possibilities because I did go very hard that Solo was going to be the guy to dethrone Roman, and I think he's the favorite. But I have two other possibilities I want to throw out there, okay? That might seem like crazy long shots now, but I think we are in for a long Roman Reigns run. I think The Rock is probably still... The Rock match has to happen because that's the point of the tribal chief, the head of the table, the bloodline. Like, the reason he's saying head of the table is because it's designed to make you think, no, The Rock is the head of your table. You know, that's the point of this storyline. So that match needs to happen at some point somewhere. I think we're in for the long run with this. I think it might be 2 WrestleManias off happening. So there's a lot of time for things to develop. Solo would still be my favorite, but I want to throw 2 other names out there. And this is a name that I think seems crazy now to dethrone Roman, but I think by the time it happens, we'll all want it to happen and we'll all be on board. And one of us already wants it to happen and is going to be immediately very happy with this. Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
Do not undersell him. Do not undersell him. Like, he is having a moment. He is having a star-making moment. He has the lineage that WWE like. He's able to carry himself in a way that I don't think anyone saw coming. They love him. And again, it just follows the pattern. I'm not saying he's the favorite, but he is definitely in there. There's another person that I think needs to be discussed. And this is outside the box. This is something that people aren't discussing, but it is being discussed in interviews and they're planting seeds for this now. I don't think this is going to happen. I think they might do something similar, but it won't be beating Roman. They might win the other belt. But a name we need to discuss and we need to start thinking about and putting our heads into here is actually Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
They've started to plant seeds that Rhea has outgrown the women's division and is going to do what China could never do. She's going to take on the men and she's going to win belts. And when you look at who the next superstar is in WWE, when you look at the person who is becoming the tie them to a rocket ship and send them to the moon, it's probably actually Rhea. You look at her, she's the finished package. Her wrestling is amazing. Her confidence, her age, the things she can do. If we're talking about a next China person, I think we need to put Rhea Ripley. Now, I don't think she's going to be the one to beat Roman because I think you're doing too much there. You're dethroning Roman and you're also having the first women's, you know, universal undisputed champion. You know, there's too much going on there. So I think she will win a men's belt, but she'll probably win the world heavyweight championship. Do you know what I mean? If we're being realistic, I think they will try and do what they did with China with her. Because again, like, think of the storyline that she's been on. How often is like people fight back against the bloodline and then like Rhea steps in the ring and squares up to the lads and the lads are like, oh shit, fuck, I'm getting the fuck away from you. It's not I can't hit women. It's you kick the shit out of me. You know what I mean? They sell for her all the time in that way and she can carry it and we buy her. So I think WWE, if we're playing 3D chess, I think Rhea's in there. Am I being crazy throwing those names out or what do we think?
I love it. I love both of those. Both of those names would be apt. I would, in my opinion, those are much better options than Solo. I think those are fucking class. fucking love the idea of Dominic Mysterio being the man to do it. I thought about that before, actually. I was thinking about that, like, as ridiculous as it seems, it would be unreal if it happened. And like, I'm like, I just want a really satisfying end to the story. I just hope it's not like, I just hope it's somebody fun. I'd rather that than Cody. I'd rather that than Solo. Dominic would be class. Rhea is a name I didn't even think of. I'm not gonna lie, I never really thought of that. But that'd be an interesting one. I wouldn't be against it. No, I love those options. Yeah, it's crazy. The judgment they are genuinely unreal. Like,
it's only when no, I didn't just come up with this out of nowhere. It's because they gave an interview where they're starting to mention Rhea's to start going for the men's belts. Like, she's already, and I'm like, they're doing that on purpose. They were told to do that. And they're planting the seed, so it's just in her head, so that when she turns around one day and enters the men's Royal Rumble and then absolutely destroys everyone, that we're like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm actually like, do it, win everything. You know what I mean?
Well, like I've always said as well, like there shouldn't be gender in wrestling, because like we mentioned this card before, mentioned some of the matches like Asuka, Charlotte, and Bianca, 3 really talented wrestlers, and I'm not really looking forward to that match because I feel like I've already seen it. You know what I mean? I've seen these people wrestle each other 100 times over. Imagine the amount of fresh matches we'd have if Asuka could wrestle everyone, or Bianca could wrestle everyone, or Charlotte could wrestle everyone. You know what I mean? So I want to see that barrier broken down anyway. I think this would be a class way of doing it. If Rhea Ripley just fucking came in and just slapped the Bloodline around, or like slap Roman around, that'd be class. Yeah.
I don't think it'd be the end of women's wrestling. I just think she is the one to cross the barrier because she can beat everyone on the roster. So she's going to be like, I can beat all the women. I'm just going to see if I can win every belt. Or
like, so now I know realistic, like by this stage Solo probably wouldn't still be with Roman or whatever, but imagine, Solo, it's like Dominic versus Roman Reigns, and Solo is like causing havoc. He's gonna ruin Dominic's chances, and Rhea comes in and fucking like slaps Solo around to like get Dominic the win and like dethrone the tribal chief. Man, come on, like,
or like what if Rhea beat like Rollins, won the World Heavyweight Championship against Rollins or Priest, or whoever has the belt, then on the same WrestleMania that Dominic beat Reigns? What if they broken up at that time, but then the end of it is like the end of WrestleMania 20 with Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, and then Rhea's just in the ring and it's like, we did it, mommy.
Yes. Oh my God.
Katey, are we crazy? You haven't really weighed in on this. Are we getting ahead of ourselves, or
no, I'm all in on all of this. This is all A-okay with me. I am more than okay with this, because you know what, like, just with the swell of things that are happening in pop culture in general, with things like Barbie, and then like, you know, obviously very sad Sinead O'Connor's passing, but it's like this like swell now of like feminism again, and people like, you know, just it's the right like zeitgeist to latch onto, I think, to have another China like figure in WWE. So I think it's the right time, and she's the right person, because organically we're getting behind her. It's not like they've just found like this really like jacked woman and being like, because that's what WCW tried to do with a couple of people, and it didn't work because like they weren't very good, they weren't very charismatic, whereas like WWE have found this person organically getting over, and she is the one to get behind.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So Betty agrees. I think that's an agreement there. So she said, "Oh my God, there you go." she's all in. Guys, always a pleasure to catch up about wrestling. Let's not leave it once again. Enjoy SummerSlam this weekend. Pleasure to have you on the show. In the meantime, buy tickets. Fight Factory, August 11th. BYOB, 20 quid, Dublin City. It is fantastic. I'm going to be there. We're all going to be there. Come along, have a few pints, enjoy some wrestling. It is an amazing night out. I'll even bring non-wrestling fans, and they've had an absolute ball as well. So if it's something where you're trying to convince friends or a partner or something to get involved with the wrestling for a night, this is a great way to show it. It's an over 18 show. It's great crack. There's always randomness and banter and stuff that even non-fans can attach to. So it's great. Corporate Cian, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already, and check him out. Like, again, Cian's taking over the world. It's happening. He's having his Dominic Mysterio moment. He's like he's destroyed it. So check out and add both of them on socials as well. Links are going to be in our press. But thanks for joining us today on page 180, guys.